Shalom, Kal Halalim, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations and blessings to you hopeful elect. Okay, this lesson is going to be inspired from amazing comment that I received, that I haven't received in a while. It's basically a reprobate, and this is something that, a topic that has, fumbled a lot of people in the past, right? Like I remember 10, 12, 14 years ago, even 15 years ago, where people came up and, they tried to, basically pick out certain things in the scriptures that the apostles taught and say, it doesn't mean that. So in this case, this clown, Nehemiah Yasharallah, right, this reprobate, so this is his comment. He said, this is from an old video I did years ago called The Tribe of Reuben and Gad. And he said, and this is the first comment, right, that he said, and neither any Native American Indians tribes neither overcame Esau on America's soil. That's why most of the natives were pushed on the reservation, which fulfills a troop shall overcome you. When you look up that word overcome, right, it means in all ways, in all forms of life. So basically you were human chattel, and they took you to a place called the reserve or the reservation, right? And then from there they basically, which was, by the way, some of the poorest lands in America, that you couldn't, wasn't fertile. The soil wasn't fertile, so it was barren and waste, and basically a lot of them starved and developed more diseases. But anyway, he's waiting for that prophecy where it says he shall overcome at the last. What does the last mean? The last days, which we're in right now, right? And there's no native Indian tribes named Gad or Reuben, because all the 540 natives in America all carry their tribal names, and none of their linguistic are of Hebraic dialect, no one. I don't know, this dude can't type for shit. I'm sorry. I sometimes have a hard time understanding some points that he's trying to bring across, but nonetheless, this dude said none of the tribes, Indian tribes, are named Gad or Reuben. Well, that's because a lot of them through time, right, they degenerated. Okay, so I'm going to read one more comment, because this guy, he makes no sense at all. He says, I asked him, look, so where's Arsareth, right? He said, bro, I answered your damn question. Arsareth isn't America, but in the Eastern Hemisphere. And the 10 tribes aren't made up of all Native Americans, Indians. 10 tribes of Northern Kingdom are indigenous natives, and 2 tribes of the Southern Kingdom are Negro, when Reuben and Issachar had the same father. See, I don't know what he's talking about, right? This guy sounds like a degenerate, right? He said, and mother Leah. So he's saying when Reuben and Issachar had the same father, Jacob, and mother Leah, that is ludicrous and stupid, my man. The problem is too many teachers who are not qualified, right? Who are not qualified, Salakia, where is that? Who are not qualified to teach, and not enough students, and you wonder why many are breaking away from these cults, camps. So the point is here, this dude said Arsareth is where? In the Eastern Hemisphere. So he's not going to give me that answer because he's bugged out, right? Because you just pulled some shit out of your ass. And when you go on this clown's page, it's very amazing. I mean, what kind of videos he got? This dude is a complete demon, and it's the biggest demons that when you go on their page, there's almost nothing on there. There's almost nothing to see. There's foolishness, man. So let's get 2 Ezra 13 and 40, because we got to go back over this for the brothers, for you new brothers coming in. This is normal, right? People come. This is a little different twist, but either they say, oh, the Indians aren't, Israelites, and whatnot. But we're going to get into that. This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 40. It says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners, right, out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria led away captive. So you can read about that during the time of the Assyrian captivity, right, during the time of after King Solomon died, and you had Rehoboam and Jeroboam split the kingdom. Jeroboam went to northern, right, and the southern kingdom was with Rehoboam, right, and they basically went off and started worshiping other gods, and the Most High sent the Assyrians after them, right, around 700 BC, right, around that time, around 23, I believe, 723, around there, and then they went into captivity. But this is what happened, right? This is what happened. And so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statues which they never kept in their own land. And they did that for a while in the Americas, because there's traces of that. And you have to be a complete buffoon, to not stumble across a lot of people's works, from South America to Central to North to the islands. There's all kinds of evidence and notes of Edomites, just stating facts about their customs. But we're going to get into that. It says, we're dealing with the point of Arsareth, because all the other points, I don't know what the hell this guy said. If you guys know what he said, you can comment below. But I don't know what the hell this guy said about Issachar and Reuben and all these other things. If he's trying to say that they had the same father, so they had to look alike, well, look at Jacob and Esau. They had the same father and mother, and they were two different nations. They came out completely different. Okay? So I don't know what the hell this guy's talking about. It says, well, all you got to do is look on his channel. This is the kind of videos he has. That's the kind of mental state you're dealing with. But I'm digging his point, his reprobate point, to use it as a live target practice for you brothers, man, just to show you that these people, they make no sense. When you get down and you start asking them real questions, you'll find the tune to their madness. You'll find their insanity, basically. It says, verse 43, and they entered into Euphrates, where's Euphrates? Euphrates is in Iraq, right? When you look at here, you got Euphrates runs all the way down southward, okay, right there into the Persian Gulf, which ironically leads out to the Indian Ocean under southern Africa all the way through. But anyway, it says, verse 44, for the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. Now, where in the hell are you going to find floods here? Okay, you're going to find floods around the Indian down over where the hot and cold currents are, which has been brought out multiple times. Right, when you look up hot and cold currents, as you see, right, it's not a good quality picture. I guess here, right, as you see, you have all kinds of currents here, and this is where a lot of shipwrecks happen. Okay, so held still the floods. Look, this whole thing is dangerous waters, man. Most High held still the flood. I don't know where this guy's talking about, where they went east, and then there's a big presence of Israelites, which there is a presence of Israelites in China and Vietnam, Taiwan, all these different places. But when you go to America, to the Americas, not America, to the Americas, when you go to here, this whole continent or continents, they're filled with Hebrew presence, right? It says, verse 45, for through that country there is a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. Now Arsareth is Achar Arataza, which means another country. So it's a whole different thing, and clearly says they passed over. You can clearly see what it means by the Passover. into another country where never mankind dwelt. I don't know where this guy's talking about, East Australia, or I don't know what he's talking about. All right, verse 46, then dwelt they there until the latter time, which we're in the latter time now, and now when they shall begin to come. Okay, so let's go to this. This is a book called The 10 Tribes of Israel, right? The True History of the North American Indians, showing that they are the descendants of these 10 tribes, by Timothy R. Jenkins. This was from Springfield, Ohio, 1883. Page 185. I'm going to read down here. Adair, right? Right down here. It says, Adair, who's Adair? James Adair was a man who lived among the Native Americans of all various tribes in America for 40 years. And this is what he said. He wrote a book called The History of the American Indians, which is a very hard book to get. Adair, who was the most careful observer of the Indians' whole economy, both public and private, and had the best opportunity of knowing it without much danger of deception beyond any other writer, gives his opinion in the following words, quote, "It is a very difficult thing to divest ourselves of prejudices and favorite opinions, and I expect to be censored for opposing commonly received sentiments." Did you hear what he said? This was back in the 1800s. He expected, right, to be censored, right? But truth is my object, and from the most exact observation I could make in the long time I traded among the Indian Americans, I was forced to believe them to be lineally descended from the Israelites. Right? You can check out that book, but that's just a quote I wanted to get. But now let's go over here. Okay, this is from the Jewish Encyclopedia. Check this out. Arsareth. The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration. According to 2nd Esdras or 4th Esdras 1345, Columbus identified America with this land, which is exactly why he came here with Hebrew interpreters, man. I don't know if this guy knows any history, this Nehemiah character, right? You're a complete bug out, man. This guy came with Hebrew interpreters because he figured out, look, he read the book of Ezra, which if you watch that movie 1492, which came out in 1991 or 2, right? Which was the anniversary of the, the conquest of America, right? He said, look, Ezra wrote it. It's in the Apocrypha. Right? And he knew about that. He said, look, we gotta sail westward. That's where the mother tribes went. He didn't go to China, or I don't know where the hell. You just said the Eastern Hemisphere. These guys just play games, man. So when you go even to this point about the 1492 light sighting, was a sighting of unknown light during the first voyage of Christopher Columbus on October 11th, 1492, by some crew members of the Santa Maria, Pinta, and possibly the Nina, shortly before the landing of Guanahani. The light was reported in Columbus's journal. What was that light? He seen a chariot. The Most High showing him, look. The Most High was guiding him. People might ask, why is the Most High going to guide the wicked? Because that's the prophecy, man. He got to live out the prophecy. The prophecy said, look, one people shall come from a far country, from the one end of the earth to the other. You're not going to understand their language because they spoke Spanish and Portuguese and other English, and they're going to conquer you. That was the prophecy. The Most High dealt with Alexander, right? On certain levels. So back here, Columbus described the light as a small wax candle that rose and lifted up, which to few seemed to be an indication of land. He received the royal reward for the sighting. Damn devil, but right? That's the point. Now look at all these other things right here. This is called the Las Lunas stone. What is this about, man? This is the thing that Esau, he tried to destroy, right? He tried to chisel this thing in New Mexico. The mystery stone, also known as the Decalogue stone, is located on a mountain in the remote desert of west central New Mexico. The stone face bears an inscription written in what some believe to be an extinct language, alternately identified as a form of Paleo-Hebrew or as Cypriotic Greek. Now, what does Paleo mean? When Esau uses that word Paleo, these Edomite scholars, Paleo means ancient, and it's not an extinct language. This is actually the ancient Hebrew. This is not Assyrian Hebrew even. Right? All these characters. La'a, Thawada, or I can't see that, but you can see the characters. La, Ma, I, La, right? You can see this the characters La'a down there on the bottom. Okay, this is Lashawan Kodash, right? I think that's Yahweh right there, Yahweh, right? So what is this about, man? Who the hell wrote this? These guys kill me, man. All kinds of evidence. There's more, right? There's the well, hold on, where did I put that? Right here. Type in Native American Hebrew stones. There's a Back Creek stone, which I had a book on this years ago, and I believe, again, ain't no Edomite forged this and wrote this, because this Hebrew, this is ancient Hebrew. This is Hebrew people the Israelites spoke before or used before the Syrian captivity. Okay, but I believe that it said that this is La, right? This is La clearly, Yahawada. I believe that's what it said, for the land of Judah, or something to that effect. But this is just one stone. You also had the newer Coley stones, which they found the Decalogue, the stone with Moses. This is Moses with the commandments. And this Hebrew is Assyrian Hebrew, which would make sense as well, because when the 10 tribes were in Assyria, right, the Hebrew changed a bit. But some of them still use the ancient Hebrew, the Paleo, or Lashon Kodash, right? But I'm gonna Lord's will make another video. This was also found in Newark. This was a wooden carving. This was clearly Assyrian Hebrew. Okay. I'm gonna make a video more on the evidences, you know, of the Israelites, you know, because his point was, look, there's no Hebraic origin in the Americas. Of course there is, man. There's a lot of tribes that know that they're the peculiar people. There's a people called the Iroquois, which is a French derivative, Iroquois, which I believe means savage, right? In the French, they called themselves the people of the Longhouse, or the Haudenosaunee, right? And among them, which is I believe 5 or 6 tribes, it's like a confederacy that they all made. You have the Mohawk and you have the other tribes, but you have one tribe, I believe the Oneida. Yeah, Oneida. Right? And they have a term that they call themselves, which is in the book I have as well. They call themselves Ongwe Honwe, right? Which means people surpassing all others, you know, the first people. So they know that they're the peculiar people, man. You know, I used to, because I remember too, I used to date a chick. She was Oneida, and she told me, she's like, look, she said, I'm Oneida. And then she kind of thought about it, and she was thinking, she was trying to recall, and she's like, we're, and she said that word, Ongwe Honwe, which means like the first people. And she was recalling it. She was like, look, we're that people. And then years later, I found out what that meant, you know. So that goes to show you, you know, a lot of listen, there's a lot of Hebrew origin among the Gadites. That's the point. And this dude wants to say the Gadites or whatever, Reuben is whoever, and Issachar is, you know. Look, man, the doctrine's here. We're in the last days. This is the truth. Either get with it or keep moving. But you can still leave your bullshit comments for edification, because I like using you as live practice, man. So, Shalom. Alright, I want to say Kal Halalim, La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles of GMS, who I learned this truth from, and salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.